Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and on this special Year 5 anniversary episode, it's that time, everybody. It's that time of year where something. I don't know. I don't know how grammar works. Grammar's hard. I sit down with my bro Ham, that retro code, Eddie V.
Hello, everybody. Hello, boss. Yes.
We're doing our anniversary episode a little early, but some things came up last minute, and some people weren't available, and we just we were switching some things around, and we want everybody to be a part of things, and don't want to shortchange anybody. And we were going to do this episode anyway in a couple weeks, so we thought we would do it today. But Ed, I'm glad you're here. I'm ready to hang out and BS for however long we usually do, right? I mean,
yes.
Right? We kind of reflect a little bit and kind of talk random stuff, and but man, we're heading into year 5 of this thing.
It's
so crazy to think about.
For Boss Rush, yes, year 5, but for content wise between me and you, it's been about going on 8 years in a sense.
Well, for me, January is 10 years because I started in 2015
with DNA.
On my own, and then DNA started that summer. DNA started in like March because there's a thing there. But yeah, I mean, January for me is when I actually sat down and created a website for myself and started writing and trying to figure out what a podcast would look like, and having no idea how hard and dumb it would be to do. Then I decided to do it 2 more times.
Well, I know for me, even before meeting you, even before finding out about DNA, definitely it was me writing on oneup.com, like my own blogs, me forming Optional Opinion, and then getting into that lane of doing solo podcasting. After listening to the One Up show and reading EGM and stuff, like having a chance to, even though I was talking to myself, getting the word out to be like, here's my podcast for everybody to hear and stuff. I kind of was like content creating way back when. So mine would have been about like 2009, 2008, I think. Because
Isn't
I'm
it crazy how fast time flies, and like, man, we've been doing way too much for such a long time at this point.
But I think the work that we all put in, it pays off. I mean,
no, I'm not discounting the work everybody does at all, right? I mean, I think everybody's doing a great job. I think everybody is doing more than I ever expected anybody to do in my entire life for us, because we're dumb. We know what we're doing. But I think that just, you look at Boss Rush's website and YouTube and just the growth we've had since even PAX East and PAX West this year, right? And I mean, we kind of had that moment at PAX East this year of like that, holy shit moment. We did it. We did something. we finally did something that, like, not that people notice, but like we did something that feels like it matters, and it was that we're never going to be able to recreate that moment, but that's like a moment that I don't know if we'll ever forget, especially you and me, with everybody.
It's I mean, when it comes to gaming and having a community and getting to where we are at, I personally never thought this would happen. I never imagined that this would happen. And
me neither. I thought we were going to I thought we were going to talk about Nintendo until we were like 80 and only have like 12 listeners forever.
Yeah, and then I'm just like look at all the other content creators we've met and grown friends with, helped them find content creators, be on their like podcasts and shows, um, the writing and everything, and just feeling like, okay, is this the stuff that professional, and I do mean professional like IGN and GameSpot, like is this the stuff that they do even though they get paid for it on a regular basis? Because I'm like, if it is, I'm like, it does take a lot of work and there is a structure to it, but I'm like, doing this with my friends and being able to talk different topics and everything, uh this is something that I love,
Hmm.
um for some, like for me, and I keep saying this, I'm sorry if I'm making this by myself, for but I'm not trying to. It was like, for me, for a
It's all
person
about
who
you,
had
Ed.
no, for me walking around with my head down, um being not scared to talk it to anybody, but knowing that people just didn't want to talk to me by the way that I look and everything. I've come a long way from just looking at people in the eye and getting ready to meet them and talk to them and like do interviews and just have casual conversations and like give out awards and everything, um because I realized that we're all here for one thing, and that's the love of the gaming culture, the anime culture, like this side of entertainment culture. And like I love it. And to do it with you, do it with the Boss Rush crew and everything, it's just it's a wonderful feeling. And it takes a lot of time. Um and encouragement and never giving up, being persistent, like we always say that, you know to get where you want to be, it's out. Even if when you put in the work, you got to keep going, even when you feel like there's nothing there. You're building a foundation,
Yeah.
you know
Yep. It's something. It's one of those things where you just kind of, man. I don't know. I think you have like this moment where it's like, what happened? Like, why? How did this happen? And that's the I think that's the power of the internet, though, right? I mean,
hmm
it just really seems like it just seems like the internet is such a powerful tool that we don't wield well enough of, like, you know for good.
right.
We found so many. I mean, all of my friends are on the internet. I mean, you, Laron, Stephanie, David, everybody is on the internet, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how did this happen? Why is it happening? You know, how did this even come to be? It's like, I don't know, man. It seems very chaotic, but also like it happened for a reason, and I'm very happy that it happened for a reason. Um, and I don't know if I'm gonna, even if this ended tomorrow, right? I think, at least some of us would be friends forever. I would hope.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. It's been weird. It's been strange. Um, but also, I don't, I mean, it's also been really hard. It's been a really hard work, especially like, I don't know, man, when we were doing Nerds Gone Rogue stuff and then we had to transition into this and
hmm
starting over almost from scratch again, right? I mean, that was exhausting, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
still relatively exhausting. But it's been so much more rewarding this time because I feel like we did it differently,
hmm
and I don't want to say the right way because I don't know I don't know what the right way is, but um
Well, we was finding our lane. We was learning. Um, we was connecting with people. We got with the right people. We met people, um, and listeners who want to also partake. And it took a while to get there. Um, and as crazy as the episodes that we had, it's like we had the good discussions, we had the moments, we had the, I won't say arguments, but we did have a lot of hot takes, mostly from me, everybody.
We
um
had hot takes.
yeah, we all had some hot takes
We
at
we
times. Yes.
we had hot takes.
Yes, we had different,
Mm,
there's been episodes that we all had hot takes.
mm,
I
I think
said mainly for me though.
I think there's a lot more coming from your end than mine,
but
but
but regardless of what my hot takes was, and I can admit, I think my hot takes, once again, sorry everybody, I'm not trying to make this by myself. I think about my hot takes,
it's all about you,
regardless
Ed.
regardless of people got upset or not. I It was all about the discussion. It, to me, trying to prove me wrong or something, or I have to try to prove myself right and everything. Besides that, or I should say outside of that, it was always the discussions. And even after the episode, whether we didn't even think about the discussion or we left in a certain array, I think our episodes were interesting, even though they were structured and had a format. I think it was it was all about the discussions and everything. Maybe yeah, maybe my hot takes might have been out of left field, but I personally tried to provide the reasons why I gave that hot take. And when people were just like, okay, this is the thing that leads up to it. And if I say something that you can't deny, uh, and I heard true, then I was just like, okay, that's all I kind of was just like mentioning. That's the only reason why I came to my house. That and that. Hey, y'all must had a discussion about my nachos, my nachos thing for E3, my food thing for E3. So, and it was just only a list.
I
So,
mean, I mean, look, I I don't know. I don't know, man.
but I think it really is just, we all had our own opinion, and there's just been episodes that we all felt out laughing, having a good time, about different topics and everything. So going from me being on offshore, you doing DNA, and then us coming together to do Power Block, um, and then NGR happens, and then Code NX, and then Boss Rush, doing our recordings on Saturdays, and then it expanding and changing days, host,
I
guests,
miss
or
doing
whatever.
podcasts in the middle of the day, man. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Well, shoot, when we do our pop like episodes at certain times on during the day, we'll be like, "Look, we got 45 minutes. We'll be able to use that 45 minutes."
I mean, we utilize it to the best of our ability.
Yes. If you think we're gonna have any side tangents, we might have one for 10 seconds, and we move it along.
Yeah, move along,
You know.
move
But I,
along.
but I think, if you look at all the recordings that we did, uh, just from all different of our podcasts, there's something there. There's something that makes people want to come back and hear us out. And I think that's the, I won't say power, but I think that's the thing that makes us as a community, as someone having shows that are very listenable, and everything. Um,
Hmm.
like, and that's a good thing, because when we do this, we want people to come see and share our thoughts and respond, and join us in the community, and if they really like us, support us on Patreon and everything.
Hmm.
um like, I think that's what our passion has led us to and everything. Like,
Yeah,
you know I love having a gaming community, because I don't have one around here. I can't go nowhere and talk about video games, and you know nerd out over Nintendo. Talk about some Xbox and PlayStation. Like,
Dude, you're talking to a person who my previous employer thought thought January 6th was cool. So
oh, good no.
you that there's nobody around here who wants to talk about video games unless you're like yeah.
Yeah.
That was
so
not great.
yeah. But it's just for Boss Push Podcast, going on for 5 years, and yeah, I'm not on it. Everybody, I I wish I could be on it more and everything and try to contribute. But work is work.
I mean, you're a host of the other show. When you talk.
Yes, I am the host of Nintendo Power Block and Expansion Pass. But if I could just be on a lot of shows, if I could fill in, if I could just talk about games with people, I'm in my comfort place talking about games.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah, and I mean that's like, man, that's something I think we're going to talk about in a minute, but I just this is like you said, the happy place. It's the surrounding work around all this that kind of sucks, like the editing and the posting and the social media and the gathering guests and whatever, right? That's the part that sucks. I need like an assistant that does all that for me. But I think all that work is worth it because look at all the things. Look at all the friends we've made, and look at all the people we know and have met and have become friendly with. I don't want to say we're friends with everybody because I don't know, maybe they don't like you or me or whatever, but like it just this thing, because we talk about video games and we get to meet so many cool people, and I think all that work is worth, all that trouble is worth the reward, even if the reward is small or in the grand scheme of things insignificant, it's still something. So but Ed, on that note, where did the doc go? I have the doc. That's not the doc. Hold on. I have lost the doc. That's not the doc either. So some of these questions people wrote in for the other episode, but we're going to read them here because a lot of them pertain more to us than no offense to LeBron or Stephanie, but they're not going to be able to answer some of these questions because they haven't been around as long as we have.
Yes.
So let's see. So All Ages of Geek writes in. I think it's Tatiana wrote in. I think she runs their social media. Writes in, what inspired you to start the podcast? It's Ed's fault.
I knew I was gonna get blamed. So
you made me do it again.
So if people haven't heard me and Corey's history, I was doing Option Opinion at the time. Corey was doing DNA, doing shows from there, and we connected on Nintendo voice chat on their forum on Facebook, and I think we was messaging each other, and Corey asked me if I wanted to be on a Nintendo podcast, and I said with a heartbeat, yes. And ever since that first episode with our good friend Adrian Nieto, the first thing we started talking about was Breath of the Wild.
For like 3 months.
For 3 months, because that was kind of the thing. But we, me and Corey kept in contact, and at the time, I would get off of work, I would get home, we would record in the afternoon or late at night, and that ended up leading into uh, when DNA changed it to NGR. We ended up doing the NGR show, which also then led it to Codename NX. We started doing that because the main shows like that were on Saturdays. That was the kind of the free time that we had to be able to do these shows.
Yeah. Plus,
Um,
it was a time where Jesse was available too, right? And it was the time where we could
yes.
all kind of be together. And I mean, uh, Ray was with us for a little bit at the beginning,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
then he went on to Twitch, and the rest of that is history. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah. And then we um Corey got the name of Boss Rush. And so we rolled with it. And we've been doing it ever since. So that's kind of how we got into podcasts and stuff. Jesse came on Nintendo Nintendo Pod Block, and then we was doing Arsenal X, our Xbox podcast. We had a PlayStation show too. Before Crossroads and everything. So we were just doing a lot of shows with each other. Definitely during
yeah,
E3, doing our E3 content and everything, um, and
yeah.
stuff. So
We definitely I will say, and this pertains to another question, which I guess we'll save it for that. But I think we definitely started the wrong way and ended up on the right path. If that makes
mhm.
sense. I mean, I still think. I, hmm. Anyway, let's just finish this because I have a lot to say about another question, but I want to
Okay,
ask the question before we get
okay.
there. So continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that was it. That was it. And
Oh,
I just said that led us to like I loved our E3 shows and everything. Just watching the shows,
yeah,
talking about it and
that's
everything.
something I
It was
want to
so much
get
fun.
back to at some point.
Yeah, I
Is
kind of Yeah,
that?
because I'm thinking next year I'm gonna take that weekend off for the summer direct stuff, so I can watch definitely Sunday when Xbox does theirs
Mhm.
and everything. Because like when I be ready to see the shows, I gotta work. So
Yeah,
hopefully next year I could just take 4 personal days off, and from like Saturday to Tuesday, watch those shows.
yeah,
And be able to react and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. And I think I think I would like to do more of that kind of stuff. I think there is more interesting stuff we could be doing.
Mhm.
I think and I what inspired, I guess, obviously Boss Rush is around because of Ed, and I try to make that so clear all the time, and um I wanted to talk about games, and I mean there's several outlets that clearly inspired me slash us slash whatever in terms of I mean I think it started with a lot of the IGN podcasts with like
Mhm.
Nintendo voice chat specifically for PAL Block, because there weren't
Yeah.
at the time there weren't a lot of Nintendo podcasts. There weren't a lot of podcasts in general at that time. Um, Now everybody has a podcast, right? That's the joke.
Yeah.
Um, and we, and then I don't want to speak for Ed, but obviously for me it was places like Giant Bomb, and then when they all left to do Kind of Funny, that was a big inspiration. And then the Iron Lords podcast, and The Last Word, and stuff like that has there have been several groups that have inspired what I would like to do and have tried to do and
Mhm.
maybe failed to do at some point or another. But at the end of the day, it's like we're still doing something. And I think taking ideas, little bits and pieces, min max, that's another one. You know just kind of bits and pieces here and there of these other things, and kind of made it our own, in certain ways. And I think that's and here we are 10 years later for me, just trying to still make it.
Yeah.
And in a way we have, right? In a way we've made it, but there's still a lot of things to do. There's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of pushing and trying to, grind. And, I know we all feel tired. And I think that's when the grind gets the toughest, obviously, but like still trying to push through. I think, this year was like our breakout year, right? I think, David and I have talked about it quite a bit of like 2024 was our breakout year, and 2025 is going to be our coming out party, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I am really looking forward to a lot of the events next year. I forgot that EGX was going on this weekend.
Yeah, I don't even know where it's at though.
It's in
Where it
London.
was at. Okay.
Yeah, Asa messaged me. He was like, "Hey, are you going to EGX?" I was like, "No, I forgot." But maybe, I don't know, dude. If I went to EGX, a lot of things would have to get canceled next year for me.
I'll be like, I don't have the budget for that. I mean, I would have to. It won't be hard to save up for it, but I'm just like, that's a lot of hours and a lot of stores I have to go to.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure my wife would be happy with me going to London for a week
London,
without her. So
especially when I don't have a passport. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's also probably a problem.
yeah.
But anyways, I'm gonna read this next question from Mary Helen, and this is the one I was kind of starting to answer, but
Okay.
if you could go back and tell yourselves one thing as you started episode 1, what would it be? Man, what wouldn't I tell? I mean, what there's so many things that I look back on
I
and think like, this is a mistake. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. I still think we're making mistakes. I still think we are on a, trajectory of almost doing too much. And I actually think some of the stuff, especially like Patreon stuff, might change in 2025
mhm.
specifically. Just because, as people come in and people go out, like there are, schedules need to be accounted for and adjusted. And, I think there's a lot of things that we do that are very similar. I think there are a lot of things that could be kind of mushed together, like book club and interviews and expansion pass and the pre-show for this show, right? Like these could all be part of the same package of content, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, expansion pass is a great name. Boss Rush Plus is kind of the term we use for some of it. There's a lot of things we could do differently in terms of that. I think the Boss Rush podcast is in a great spot. I think Nintendo Power Block is we are kind of staffing up that side to kind of build it back up. Not that it's like doing bad or anything, and just we would like to have more people involved. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, man, what if we just stuck with Nintendo Power Block? What if we would have just stuck with Power Block? But then, like, there's a lot of to factor into that too, right? Like, well, where does Jesse fit into that? Because he's more of an Xbox person, at the time.
Right.
We what do we do when we want to talk about the other consoles? What if we wouldn't have met LaRon, or even Stephanie, or even Celeste at a point, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like a lot of pros and cons to a lot of this stuff. And I think with our folk, like how everything kind of ended up with Boss Rush, it would like the writing, with the indie stuff, a lot of Nintendo
Yeah.
coverage, a lot of, Nintendo fans on staff, like 90% of it would still make sense under a Nintendo PAL Block kind of branding, right?
Yeah.
But we do so much more than that too. And, I think it's important to try and do these other things too. And so I really don't know. All I know is that, like, what I wish we would have done is not expand so much so fast at the beginning, and really, in terms of like output and the things we were doing and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Not like the people. I think having a lot of people involved is great. But yeah, I think the one thing I would have said was, like, sit down, come up with a plan, come up with a strategy. Don't wing it, because that is always what we do. So I don't know. What do you have anything to say on that, Ed?
Uh, for me personally, is have a better internet connection, get a microphone
No,
and camera, because we was doing Google's Hangouts, everybody, and then we went to Skype, and
gosh, that was the time.
we are in a better place now. I mean, Zencaster does some wacky schmacky stuff sometimes, but like our beginning stuff, I wouldn't call it questionable content. We were really trying different things out. The technology that we have now, and the programs and stuff that we have now wasn't there at the time that when we first came out, when we did Nintendo Power Block for the first time. Um, with optional opinion, I had to trick a lot of stuff just to even get the sound, so I don't have to do all the mixing and everything. Like um, there was a lot of stuff that I had to fake, and I also, when it came to recording Nintendo Power Block, I had my mixer, because everybody at the time had a mixing board doing stuff, and now it's just like it's easier to record podcasts. But like, I would have told myself to be like, hey, invest in a good looking camera, invest in invest in the Ethernet cord, um invest in a good microphone and head. I mean, I have Sony headphones and everything, but just like invest in some things so that
Mm-hmm.
your quality output would match everybody's. That would look better, um, and everything. So, and also just have fun. Don't don't try to make don't try to make yourself be the right one and everybody else look um like their opinion is wrong or anything, or it doesn't matter. Like, don't do that. Just like, there's gonna be debates and stuff. There's gonna be some discussions. There's gonna be some times where we agree to disagree, but like, really have fun. And then even when you get off, um, well, I apologize for some things, and stuff. Just like, do your best to want to continue to that they want to record with you and be friends with you and stuff, because like, this is something new for everybody. We all didn't know at the time how everything would play out if we would jail and stuff. But once you learn stuff and you start gelling, you'll be able to be like, okay, what I need to be better at, let me start applying to be better. Let me work on to be better and
Yeah.
everything. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I definitely would have told myself.
Yeah. And I think one of the smartest moves we did, although it took us enough time to get there, was, at the beginning, when we decided to bring Nintendo Power Block back, you were the host of this show and I was the host of Power Block,
Yeah.
when it should have been the other way around. And we eventually corrected that mistake. And I think Power Block specifically is better for it. Um, I I think we've made some pretty smart decisions too, right? Like,
Hmm.
handing David the website has been more, what do you call it, successful than we could have ever imagined, right? Like, just
Yeah.
look, do what you need to do with it. If you need something fixed, I will fix it. And I'm in the middle of kind of adjusting the way the website looks again, just because it's kind of clunky and it needs cleaned up a little bit. But it just, like, that was a big thing. Um, I mean, there's been a couple other things too that we've done that have been smart decisions. I just can't think of any off the top of my head because I'm dumb. But I don't know. It's weird how things work out, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because we made a lot of mistakes, but we did a lot of great things, and we're still ending up here, and we're growing, and we're doing some awesome work. And I don't know if I would have it any other way at this point. So
I I I I can't say, like, from a hosting perspective, I never knew I would be able to host a show. Like, Option Opinion is different, but like doing a community based show, I didn't know if I would be able to host it and everything, because I'm just like, how do I? And I would say the one thing that the Boss Rush podcast has taught me is that it was a learning experience to, be able to guide a show.
mhm.
Because, like, yes, even though we had structure to it, even though we had a format, I'm like, when you're with other people recording and everything, you want everybody to be heard. You want to make sure that people stay on topic. And there's going to be some side tangents and stuff that leads into other things. But you want to make sure that everything is focused, everything is time. Um, and it was a learning process. If I'm a lot of people know that if I'm throwing in a spot, I will fake it so I can make it. I would
Mhm.
improvise. I would come up with something. I would do the best, because I'm like, um when you're thrown into something and you don't know what to do, you got to try something. Whether you get a good result or not, you got to try something. Because you got to sometimes make people believe that you got a show, even though you don't have one. Trust me, we have had some Power Block episodes way back in the DNA days and NGR days, when there was no kind of news, where we didn't have nothing to talk about, and then 2.5 hours later we end up the show be like, what did we just talk about?
Right. Yeah. I mean, half the time I still don't know if we have anything real to talk about. We just, and
But
I
like,
think even talking about Pow Block now, I still feel like Pow Block is still the most genuine show
mhm,
that we have, in terms of, like, nothing really ever feels forced on that show, and maybe that's because you're a good host, and not to say that Boss Rush podcast feels forced, but sometimes the topics are there too, and like, I am just like, I wish the show flowed a little bit better, and maybe that's my fault as a host, right? Like, I
mhm,
think when we look at Pow Block, like, you and I could talk about nothing for 3 hours and it still not feel like we're done talking,
right,
whereas, there's sometimes on um some other things that, like, I'm, like, begging for it to be over. And I'm not talking about the Boss Rush podcast specifically. I'm just saying there's some things, you know, whether it's our stuff or it's somebody else's stuff, like, um there are times where I'm just like, man, I am tired. I don't really have anything to say. I kind of just want it to be over at some point, and I
mhm,
don't care if this is a shorter episode or not, like, that kind of thing.
yeah,
Um and obviously, like, when there's questions from the audience and stuff, that helps a lot keep the show moving and keep the
mhm,
show fresh and different. But, like, when one of the main segments on the Boss Rush podcast, right, is what we've been playing, and it's like sometimes like there are literally times where I say things that I'm playing, and I've either been playing them for like 2 months, or like I haven't played any games that week, and I just end up saying what I played the week before, right? Because busy, can't really start new games right now, can't really buy a new game right now because this or this problem um going on at home or whatever, right? And so um it's stuff like that I'm just like, oh, man, like, and maybe that's just like me getting older and having more responsibilities from when we started all this, and like, oh, I was playing games all the time, and I was able to do this and play, 5 games in a month, where like I'm barely completing one now, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. It's just life changes, and I still love games and still passionate about games, but there's just so much time in the day, and I got to sleep and go to work, and make sure my
Gotta
kids stay alive, and my wife is alive and doesn't hate me for 10 minutes. uh and you and I have been talking about finally jumping into playing Xenoblade Chronicles series all the
yeah.
way through, right? And it's like, I'm looking at this series like, there's on the Switch alone, there are 4 games with a 5th one coming. They're all at least 100 hours long. And
Depending on how you go about it, you know.
like I said,
Uh,
they're at least 100 hours long. Have you seen my Assassin's Creed Odyssey map, Ed?
oh no, I have not. Shoot, I'm trying to
Oh,
get through Metaphor Re Fantasia, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I know why this game is 80 hours long. Good goody boogie,
there's a
so much talking, and
there's a reason why I'm 140 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey and still haven't done the DLC. Okay. There's a reason I went back to Origins, and it's because there are things I need to clean up in that game. Uh, but yeah, I just we do this because we love it, and we're passionate about games, and I wish we could play more. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up too, is like, we were talking about, would we go back and maybe just do PAL Block or whatever,
Mhm.
and then obviously personnel and friends and meeting people, whatever. But I kind of wish at this point in my life I would just pick a console and live in that ecosystem, right? And be really,
Mhm.
really knowledgeable about that ecosystem and the news that comes out about it. And it would be Nintendo, no question, right? And like, I just feel like I have to, and I've gotten better about that over the last couple months, specifically, like, not jumping everywhere. But like, I think I would love to just play in the Nintendo ecosystem and never turn on another console, right? But that obviously can't happen with the Switch in its current state because of games like Destiny, and there are a lot of first party games on the other consoles that are important to
Mhm.
at least acknowledge, based on our content. And um, then you have like the slew of indies that are out there. But I think I would just tell myself, you need to relax and pick one console to focus on. And that's going to be, if we had to do New Year's resolutions right now, I think that would be the one thing for me, is like, just refocus yourself, focus on what you want to focus on, and don't worry about the other things, you know.
Mhm.
And for me, like, Sony's always been that outlier of like, oh man, I wish I was more into PlayStation's first party than I am. But then I'm like, but why do you wish that? Is that because everybody else owns a PlayStation and that's their primary console? Is that, you know, oh, you used to love God of War, so you think you still need to love God of War? Is that everybody's talking about Ghost of Tsushima, so you like Assassin's Creed, so you need to experience the quote unquote best one? Which I'm going to strongly disagree with that. But um, it's just like, I I have become confused and lost as a gamer, and I don't and I'm slowly like refinding myself as a gamer, and I think I actually thought about making this a topic at one point for either the show or for Pow Block or just doing a video on it, but like the games industry has ruined me as a gamer, and it's because like I feel like I have to keep up with everybody even though I'm old enough and think I should know better at this point of like, no, you don't. You don't have to keep up with everybody. And to prove that to myself, I went back to Assassin's Creed Origins, which was the game I was playing the Christmas before Riley was born. You and I were on an Xbox chat talking about it. I
Yeah.
remember it distinctly. I was in our game room in the old apartment, and it was the last like holiday I was going to spend in there before I moved everything out into the living room / dining room / kitchen of our tiny apartment to record, because that was going to be the baby's room. And I just remember
Yeah.
sitting in there in this nasty chair that's still sitting over here, by the way, playing that game on this TV, by the way. And we were sitting in an Xbox Live chat,
Chat.
and
Both playing it.
I wasn't working the next day, and it was snowing outside. And it was like late November, and for some reason it was snowing outside, and I had the window cracked because it was so hot, because in our bedroom of the old apartment, the windows didn't quite shut all the way, and they were like not sealed correctly, and so like you would feel the cold air come in, so we turned the heat on extra hot because we weren't paying utilities, thank God. But like that made the middle room super hot, so I had the window and I remember that night so vividly. And it just, I don't know, man. It was a really interesting night. Honestly, it was a really, I don't know. Every time I play Assassin's Creed Origins, I think of that night for some dumb reason, and it's not like anything important happened that night. It was just like, it felt like one of the last times I think that I played a game and really sat down and enjoyed it without worrying about what kind of content I was making out of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it was that weird transition between no, because when did Assassin's Creed Origins come out? Oh, I gotta look this up.
We was in NGR at that time when we was doing it, because we knew Jesse. We was doing Arsenal X. So
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. Okay. Yeah, because NGR ended in 2019. Okay, yeah. And yeah, so this came out in October, and it was like Thanksgiving break, I think, maybe.
yeah.
So anyways, I just think of we were just doing the podcast and trying to figure out what we wanted to do and trying to see if an Xbox show would work, and it just felt like the last time I was playing a game where I wasn't worried about what kind of content we were going to make out of it. And it's still true, right? I mean, even Breath of the Wild, right, that year was like, I played it, but like we were so focused on POW Block on Switch and Breath of the Wild for like 3 months until what I think ARMS, and then Splatoon, and maybe it was the other way around. And like, we got that really cool Street Fighter HD thing that came out in that May, and
it was like
E3 was coming up, right? And like that was like our big focus.
It was like the games that was coming out, the worry that people had about the Switch not selling, or people claiming it to be a failure, just even at the launch title. And then Nintendo just surprises everybody by continuing to sell games and the systems. changing the way that people play games. They didn't know that portable gaming would. I mean, portable gaming was big, but then they didn't know that it would become big in this way. And then when third parties started dropping their games on, it stopped becoming about the performance and the graphics and stuff. If things ran well and looked good and everything, and rather people point it and laugh and stuff, people were just like, I'm finishing games on Switch, or I'm getting this because I know if I don't get it on this console, it's gonna be when I do want a copy or I feel like I need the copy, it's not gonna be $20 or less. It's gonna be at this point,
Hmm.
like Switch had changed so much, not only just for us, for Power Block, but just like the whole gaming industry. So
Yeah.
well, I definitely, to answer that question, did the games industry ruin me? I actually would say no for me. Um, and the reason being is that yes, I am the main Nintendo guy. Will always ride for Nintendo. That's what I grew up on. But also, like, I have been a multiplayer with the Sega Genesis and the Atari 7200, and then again the TurboGrafx 16. Like all of those old systems, and I did get a PS2 and Xbox, and I always had that stuff. Besides the portable things, all my portables was always Nintendo. Um, but I think it didn't ruin me because I started playing the odd games that people just doubted and say it was gonna be a failure, it was gonna be no good, or like DMC Devil May Cry, like for a lot of modern games, like DMC Devil May Cry or The Last Guardian, like stuff like that. Um, those games meant more to me, and I got something more out of them that people just didn't recognize. And I think if I felt like I had to be getting games that everybody else got, I would be missing out on a whole bunch of experiences. Because I always say that, okay, if I'm getting all the popular stuff, why can't people who got all the popular stuff that I got with them, why can't we talk about it? Why can't we talk about story? Why we can't talk about things and characters and music and stuff like that? Why can't we have that discussion and everything? It's easy to laugh at somebody about it if you want to, but when some other person wants to have a discussion, why can't we not have that? And I wouldn't say it's not the game industry fault about it. Sometimes it's the community, it's the gamers that get that stuff. Be like, okay, I got this popular game. I got something. So top tiers, all of this. But then, okay, can we talk about it? Why do I need to talk about this game? It's
Hmm.
good. That's all you need to know. I'm like, not even creating content out of it. It's just like there's more to it. And I don't think some gamers recognize the artistry and the things that they could come out of it. Like that's why I say when it comes to The Last Guardian, and I know we got another question. When I talk about The Last Guardian on PS4 and why I think it's the best PS4 game on that whole system outside of Horizon Zero Dawn, it's because there's something powerful in that game that people don't get. They were so focused on the controls and trying to get not Ego or Trico to do some stuff. But I'm like, it goes beyond that. And I think that's something that people don't even from first people who are into first party games from Sony, it's just something that they don't get out of. And it kind of made me sad when that studio closed, and that was the kind of like their last game. Because I'm just like, the Last Guardian did so much musically, it did something thematically, it made you feel a lot of emotions. Even though it was very silent. And now we see indie games that could do almost the same thing, and we get something out of it. Um, I will say crown it. We crown it with because they did something, like even like with walking simulators and stuff. Like there's something people get out of games, and I just feel like sometimes when you should get something out of a game that's really popular, you should really get something out of it and be able to talk to anybody about it. You
Yeah.
know, if you just say, "Well, it's a good game," and I don't want to talk about it, that doesn't do anything because it's just like, okay, you played a popular game, and you moved on. That means that you don't respect that art. You just want to be seen that you played that popular game and move on. You just want
Yeah.
to be seen playing popular stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, games.
Yeah.
People, I mean, look, I don't want to like tell people how to enjoy games. You do what you want slash need to do, right? It's just,
Hmm.
you know, I've just been really struggling to enjoy video games lately, and I don't really know what it is. And, um, yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't. I wish I could say, "Hey, I'm enjoying games right now, and I'm playing a lot of games." But honestly, even in my downtime, I'm like playing a game, but then I'll just turn it off and start watching TV. Right? Like, in some of my downtime, like watching. I've been watching, shows with my wife, and it's been fun. Right? It's been,
Yeah.
we've been really watching like a lot of interesting things. And we've been watching Agatha All Along on Disney Plus. We've been watching Nobody Wants This on Netflix. We've been watching
I've been
Des-
hearing about that. Nobody wants this. Like
it's so
I heard
good.
that's a really good show.
I'm obsessed with
Um,
it. I'm obsessed with it.
did it
um
just start or like
it's been out
did I?
since it's been out for like a couple months at this point. But
Okay, maybe I need to check it out. To just throw it
it's like
on
a
my
it's
Xbox.
a it's a romantic comedy um show, but it's really good. It's really well written. And Kristen Bell and Adam Brody are in it, and they're just, I mean, their chemistry is off the they that I don't know how that chemistry can be that good.
Mm.
Um, so
I've been watching High Priority, this like crime mystery show on ABC. I've
mm,
been watching it through Hulu and everything. And it's been really, really good. I like how they come up with um how they solve the crime and the things because you'll think one way, but then they reveal something else. I'm just like, ooh, this show's really good, and I really am enjoying that.
yeah, it's yeah. And so like games have just kind of been like, I'm playing them because I need to, I guess. But like, I don't know, I've just been in this weird funk where like I get this way every once in a while, right? And then
Hmm.
it'll take a game like, I felt this way after Breath of the Wild, where like nothing was grabbing me. I really wanted to play something, but I don't know what to play. And Assassin's Creed Origins was kind of scratching that itch, but it really wasn't
Yeah.
until it really wasn't until Assassin's Creed Odyssey that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this game. This is amazing. And then like that slew of games that came out in 2019 of like,
The
Fire
crazy
Emblem
year.
caught me, and then Link's Awakening, and then The Witcher came out on Switch, which I played a lot of, and I played a lot of NBA 2K on the Switch that year for some
Hmm.
reason. And 2019 for the Switch we talk about that year all the time, but
Yeah.
we 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 ate good that year, as the
Yeah.
kids say.
And I think that's why I I'm like I said, Nintendo is my main. I'm always gonna focus on Nintendo,
Hmm.
but like doing PlayStation, doing Xbox, is like the stories that those developers could tell, and some of the indie games that comes to them first before they hit Nintendo. I've been thinking about Rhyme so much. Um, and just thinking about the ending of that game, and then thinking about Hellblade 2, and thinking about Never, and it's just, and I think it's just like there's so much I get out when I'm so into a game that when I get something out of it, I just be like, man, I I want to play more of this or stuff like this. Like it takes me a while to get off a game when I'm really enjoying it in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Games are it's weird because with how many games are out all the time now,
Mm-hmm.
it's weird that one just doesn't grab you, right? It's
Dude, I'm thinking of because I'm considering it, even though I own all three games, I kind of like if that Tomb Raider um collection of like Tomb, Rise, and Shadow, like the definitive version, like if that goes back on sale on Xbox, I'm thinking of buying it and downloading the game and going through those games. It's just for the DLC, because I'm like these games are just iconic. It's so good, like, and I can have them all on one without having to put the CDs in and everything. It's just, it's just so good.
yeah. Yeah. I yeah, I'm trying to like really figure out what I'm gonna do next because I mean even Echo man, even Echoes of Wisdom was like I loved it
Mm-hmm.
for like 5 hours. I loved it. And then I liked it for like another 6 or 7 hours. And then I'm just like, meh, I think I'm good at one point. And
It it
Pat and I talked about this at one point where like it just it felt very constrictive and repetitive
yeah.
with and which is weird because of how open it is at some point. And I think like you just get comfortable uh with the echoes that you find and you learn how to use those, and then when you get new
Mm.
ones you're just like meh, you know, maybe, but no. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I just feel like a fake gamer right now.
No, you just trying to find out what motivates you to game, and when you find that game that you enjoy, that you love playing, play it. You, no one. I think that's the great thing is that as a gamer, you don't have to feel pressure of playing everything. You can play your backlog, or you could, if you feel like you want to go get something new and play it, you can. No one's gonna judge you. I think if there's gonna be any judging, it's just like people won't be happy that you're playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so I need to figure out what I'm gonna play next. I really think it's gonna be Xenoblade now though, because Xenoblade Chronicles X is coming, and
Yeah.
I'm beyond excited. It's literally the reason why my Wii U is still plugged in. Like it's one of 3 reasons why my Wii U is still plugged in. Not that I'm ever gonna play any of those games ever again, but it's that and
Hey,
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are the reasons. And this gives me like I really think I
Twilight
re-
and
I really
I
think
think I think Twilight and Wind Waker now is gonna come. When X is coming to Switch, I'm like, okay, this is a three: Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and I'm sorry, everybody, Paper Mario Color Splash. I need to come to Switch. I
yeah, but
feel like that game didn't.
we already have
I
2 Paper Marios on Switch though.
I would take another one. I don't care.
I
I would
think
take
I
another
think you're
one.
going to I think you're going to have to start looking at Wii games now. HD Wii games and GameCube games. I think the Wii U is clearly depleted outside of Zelda and
Dude.
maybe Yoshi's Woolly World
Yeah.
and Star Fox are like the only other two that I can be like maybe I could see Star Fox at some point.
If the Fire Emblem Radiance, was that the GameCube one?
Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
If
I never
them,
remember which one is which, but it's the Wii and the GameCube one. I think they're gonna get a dual pack similar to
if
That
they
and
give,
Kato's games. Dude, if That
if
and
they,
Kato's came out and you're not gonna put Zelda out, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because I'm
uh,
just like, because Fire Emblem has been quiet. It really has been quiet. If those games get literally remastered and they drop for Switch,
mm-hmm.
don't you know folks are going to go, wow. Hopefully they tone down the difficulty because those games are very challenging.
Yeah.
Quality of life things. But it's gonna be like, oh, y'all dig deep. Let me pre-order my copy right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, but right now, Twilight with Xenoblade Chronicles X, the whole collection now being on Switch, for the whole series,
Yeah.
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker has to drop. I
I
still would take a.
yeah, I'm thinking at this point now Nintendo is really trying to get their entire library, like from like their entire I would say first party library from
Mhm,
GameCube on into some sort of HD remaster type situation. And I still think that a lot of games coming out over the course of the next couple years are going to be Switch 1 games that are playable on Switch 2, and a
mhm,
lot of them
yeah,
are going to be remasters or remakes similar to the 3DS, right? Like the
yeah,
3DS for 2 years all they had were remakes and remasters of
mix,
Nintendo of DS and GameCube games, right? Like Luigi's Mansion, Samus Returns, 2 Mario and Luigi games.
they
What
they
what else was
publish
coming?
they published Dragon Quest
Yeah.
remakes from
Mhm.
Square Enix, and this is where Square and Nintendo weren't talking at all.
Yeah.
But when they seen that they can, when Square see they can make money off the 3DS,
Mhm.
like Nintendo was just like, okay, we got the publishing deal for this, we're gonna publish it.
Yeah, I think
You
I think a
know,
lot I think a lot of the stuff you're gonna see on Switch 2, I would say most of the new games, quote unquote,
yeah,
right? Like new games, not remakes or remasters, are going to be Switch 2 games. I really like the next Mario game, the launch games, like the launch games are going to be Switch 2 only games. What I think you're going to see is they're still going to want to support the 145 million Switches that are out there.
yeah,
And I think those are going to be fed with a lot of remakes and remasters of Wii, GameCube, DS, and 3DS games, right? And we
mm-hmm,
don't talk enough about the DS or the 3DS because it's not that you can't do it, but like it's incredibly difficult to figure that out, and Konami figured it out, right?
yeah,
Screens side by side with a little bit of extra work. And yeah, okay, you use your stick, you use your right stick instead of the stylus to, pick your items or reveal the map. Or, I mean, a lot of that stuff is just maps anyway at this point, right? I
yeah,
think I think the only games you would really have to rework are the DS Zelda games. That's because you have to use the stylus to move Link.
yeah,
But even then, like you just make the left stick the I don't know, and I'm not a game developer. I don't know how hard this is or how difficult this is or whatever, but like, you know and obviously that game had mechanics where you shut the DS and open it and it reveals a map that you
yeah,
can draw on and you do it again, right? And there would have to be something like that, which I guess you could just probably press select or one of the shoulder buttons, or there's button mapping that can really fix that issue, right? But like,
yes,
I think you're really gonna have to look at the handheld games, and you're really gonna have to look at the GameCube and Wii era first party, and then anything before the GameCube and the DS. Those are gonna live on Nintendo Switch Online, and you're gonna subscribe to get them.
mm-hmm.
You know, and
Like
granted, I think
they
after.
still.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sure they still could. The Game Boy Advance stuff and Game Boy, like all of that stuff, still could be expanded on NSO.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying, right? Is like you're in like they're still putting N64 games out, right? Like we just got Turok and Shadow Man, right? Turok
yeah,
2 and Shadow Man for some Shadow Man, really, really.
that
I mean,
Nintendo's
I'm not
just been dropping
complaining, but
stuff.
like, I'm not complaining, but it's like, dang,
But
Shadow
but
Man's a
but actually think about it, Banjo Tooie and those two games, like 3 N64 games, like out of nowhere.
yeah.
that's a Nintendo discussion we'll have, everybody. What is going with these wacky out of nowhere announcements? Alarmo, Xenoblade Chronicles X, in 64 games. Like, what else?
Alarmo feels like the opposite of like. Remember the Wii U was dying, like its slow, painful death while we were waiting for the
Yeah.
Switch, and they just kept releasing the mini consoles. This is what that feels like. Is like the Switch is super successful, but we're in like this sit and wait period for the next console. So let's release something that people can buy. That's what do we have? Oh, clocks. Somebody will buy it. So stupid. I didn't buy
Hey,
one yet, but I should.
I have mine.
Yeah. Oh, well, Ed, are you playing anything? We should probably talk about that real quick before we get out of here.
Do we have any more questions?
Well, not not for us. No, some of them
Okay.
are directed specifically at people that aren't us. So,
Okay.
um, I didn't ask for questions for this because this was, obviously like a last minute thing too. So we're
Okay.
very bad at that.
For me, I am playing Dawn of Sorrow from the Castlevania collection. Playing that. Um,
Dawn of
and
Sorrow
playing.
is the first DS one, right?
Yes, I am. It's so funny because that was the first game that I bought when the Fat DS came out, and
Mm.
then when the light, I beat it on the Fat one, and then when the light came out, that's when my whole library started to grow. I
Mm.
love the DS Lite. The black one, love that. Um, but I am playing Metaphor B Fantasio on Xbox, and this is becoming a struggle for me. Um, I mean, it is challenging. I got some game over scenes, so I'll admit that. But it's only challenging in the fact that I cannot grind in this game.
Mm.
And they got some points where you could take a rest, but it doesn't refill your energy or your magic bar. And it still does the persona thing where you got a certain amount of days that you got to get stuff complete. Um, so it's it's okay. The music is okay. In the game, like it's good, but I'm still in a. There's just so many cutscenes, and I think that's why this game is so long. Is that it's too many cutscenes. I want to fight, and I want to be able to grind. I want to get, and I'm cool. I love the fact that if I'm overpowered, I could just fight them like it's a action RPG, which I think that this game just should have been just an action RPG instead of a turn-based one. I'm only got 3 party members instead of 4. Like, I haven't been able to grow anything just yet because it's still so many cutscenes, and it's just like I can't do anything. And this is what I fear for the trial series. Once I get into it, that there's so much talking and so many cutscenes that I want to get to the point where I can actually play the game. Now, when I start the Xenoblade Chronicle games, it's not always like that. There is a point, definitely in 3, where you do put the controller down and you watch a long scene, but that's after you do a lot of fighting. And that long scene plays a pivotal part in the story. Like it does a lot. So, but there's so much in the Xenoblade games that when you are able to play it and stuff, there's so much side stuff that you're able to do, to make your character stronger. Um, but I am enjoying it. I wouldn't say that it's a personal game of the year nomination for me just yet, but I'm like, if I had to say a nomination for a role playing game of the year, yeah, I think it would just fit that category, but I don't think it fits into the game of the year for 2024, uh, or anything. Like I said, I'm still playing it. I'm going to try to get a review out for it in the coming week. I'm just trying to get as much done as I can, because I'm like Brothership and Dragon Quest, um, Life is Strange, Double Exposure came out that I need to pick up. There's so many other games that's about to hit in November that I want to try. It's still waiting for Star Wars Outlaws to go on sale, I should say, before I pick it up. So yeah. Man,
Nice.
I'm noticing something at Target. I was talking to my sister, and I'll hand it back over to you, Corey. And she was just like, yeah, they got rid of their movie section. I'm like, what? They've been having their movie stuff and their Target ads. What's going on? And she's just like, yeah, they're getting rid of it. There's not going to be no more physical movies. I was just like, true, that kind of feels like it's the games department too, because I'm like,
Yeah, Best Buy
goodness,
got rid of theirs.
of which one
Their
of their movie
physical
section?
movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it really feels like I still love buying physical movies. Like I of course I could stream stuff and I could buy it digital, but I'm like that when we're talking about digital licensing, shoot, I bought movies on Zoom and they lost the license and they took them away. So it's just like I can't the stuff that I brought to them, I don't get my money back. Once they're gone and
Yeah.
everything. So that's why I like, buying stuff for physical. So I need to find a place that where can I buy physical movies? If not, then it's going to be Amazon where I have to order them. Um and everything. And I'm fine ordering from Amazon, but I'm like, I want to be able to go into a store and buy physical movies. And at this point in time, Walmart might be the only place that I could go and get it. Because if Target's getting rid of all of their movies, then Walmart's gonna be the only place that carries them. If not that, then I gotta try to buy physical online. And
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, those games are what I'm playing right now. I am going to reinstall Vampire Hunters on my Xbox so I can get ready for the Castlevania DLC or update. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm playing right now.
Nice. Um, like I said, I'm kind of like in between games and like I'm trying to like play a bunch of different things. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins still, the DLC, and I'm trying to like get all of the achievements in that game, which I'm really, really close. I think I only have like 5 or 6 to go, and most of them, 2 of them are complete the DLCs. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I have 8 achievements left. 2 of them
Ooh.
are to complete like all the stuff in the DLC. It has something to do with the DLC, right? Um, one of them is complete every location in on the main map, which I've completed every location I've been to. I can't find where I haven't been, so I don't know what that means. And I also completed every location in the first DLC. So that's what I'm looking for that stuff. And then um, the last 4 or 5 have to do with like the learning stuff, like the non-game part of it. You remember when
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft did that big initiative of like learn about the Sphinx and you can walk around it as a you know, corn husker or whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. There's like I think there's 4 or 5 achievements attached to that stuff. So those are the easy ones, which are the ones I'll do last. Uh, and then I've played the first 3 missions of Black Ops 6 on Xbox. It's I got to tell you, I haven't played Call of Duty very seriously in a long time.
Uh,
Uh, I'm not saying Black Ops 6 is the one that's going to get me back into that, but the production value is great. I think the time period is interesting because we lived through it. uh, and being set in the late 80s, early 90s is like very strange because you see like George Bush like addressing the nation, and it's like
Oh
it's like
no.
well, it's like footage from like when he was on TV, and I remember sitting there with my parents watching him address the nation, and like it's weird seeing these things as like historical, even though this is very clearly historical fiction, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
man, this is like really strange to watch some of this stuff. And so, and also like all the actors in it I've recognized from stuff, which is crazy. uh like Haro, which is the woman character, she played one of the characters. She was in House of Cards. The interrogator, I don't remember what his name is, but I've seen him in a lot of things. um and then the main kind of black character that you're kind of following through the game, I've seen him in plenty of things too. I don't remember any of their names though. And then
I
Woods is in it, like from Black Ops 1 and 2,
so
and I think 3. I think he was in 3, but yeah, definitely from Black Ops 1 and 2. He's in it. Um, but yeah, it's
it's it,
interesting.
it's funny. The Black Ops Advanced Warfare and the Modern Warfare remake, those are the only two campaigns. No, Modern Warfare 2 I finished also. The 360 PS3 one, the
Hmm.
original one, I finished, and I was just like, y'all like this game? I literally rolled my eyes over there during that time, everybody.
Hmm.
But Advanced Warfare story campaign I definitely enjoy, and Modern Warfare the remake or reimagined I definitely enjoyed. Those two campaigns from the Call of Duty games.
Yeah.
For it.
Um, yeah, and then I played Black Ops 2 and Ghosts on Wii U, which was like, whatever. I played
Yeah,
those on the Wii U. You take that how you want. Uh,
it's. I think if I had to make a list of first person campaign games, um, definitely Titanfall 2 would be on it. Metroid Prime would be on it. Destiny 2, uh, the original campaign I definitely enjoyed. Final Shape is good also. A lot of their DLC campaigns were good, but like just uh the original Destiny 2 with that first campaign was really good. I definitely enjoyed. Um Battlefield uh Battlefield 3 campaign I somewhat enjoyed. The Medal of Honor remake or reimagined, that one I definitely enjoyed for a first person shooter. Um I kind of want to say Portal 2, but I'm like I may have to add that because of Metroid Prime also if I'm adding that. Um I know those games I definitely enjoyed. Um Halo 5's campaign I enjoyed. Um
you're the
Halo
only one.
4, yeah. Man, Halo 4, the cutscenes in Halo 5. Oh, good googly moogly, they're so
Well, yeah, the
good.
cutscenes are great, but uh, the campaign was bad. Halo
I
4,
enjoyed the
Halo
campaign for
4
that.
is Halo 4 is still my favorite Halo game in terms of the campaign.
Yeah. Because it felt like a retro game. It's supposed to be
Well, yeah.
from retro was there, uh
Yeah.
making it. Uh
Yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
I I don't know what other first person kept Bioshock I did enjoy.
we're getting into
Um
Ed's infamous super list, guys. Hang on. We got another hour and a half to go.
Oh, sorry. I will hold back on my list. But but I think like first person campaigns, those will definitely be on my list. I would just have to think of some other ones,
Mhm.
um, that I played and stuff.
Yeah. Um, what was I? Oh, um, I did, however, I did end up getting uh the Hori Zelda Joy-Con with
Nice.
the real D-pad. But then my my navy blue and neon yellow Joy-Cons don't match it, so I had to bust out the Zelda purplish one from the Skyward Sword set,
Uh
because that set also doesn't match and it bothers me. But this matches pretty good actually with the gold and the kind of like the purple and the black. And I
Is
was
it
looking
just
for like a right Joy-Con that matched this, and it doesn't
yeah?
exist.
I thought I was about to ask you that. I'm like, wait a minute, they only gave you one side. I thought they was gonna give you another side.
Yeah, it was on sale for $17, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. But
That's not a bad deal. That's
no,
really good.
I know. Well, I mean, it's the Hori one, so it's not like a quote unquote real one, but
Hmm.
it feels cleaner than the um it feels cleaner than the normal Joy-Cons, honestly. The stick
Hmm.
feels tighter, which is different. So,
Well, that's cool.
but yeah, but there's no right side of this. And I was like, why is there not a right side to this? Why can't I just have a right side? Why didn't you sell the whole thing? I would have given you $50 for the whole thing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It just I would like a matching left side or right side, I mean. So, but what was I playing? I was gonna. Oh, a new season of Disney Dreamlight Valley was announced today. I'm very excited. We're gonna talk about that on Pal Block at some point.
Yeah, I
The
seen something, but
Yeah, it's the
I didn't know
new.
if it was gonna lie.
It's the Storybook Vale, man. It's the new air. It's a new island because
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't done a Rift in Time yet. I haven't even completed the main campaign, and I have 7 days logged into that. Uh,
But hey, you
isn't
got
that
it on
sad?
Xbox.
Isn't that
Actually,
sad?
it's not.
No, I
It's
mean, isn't
not.
that sad that like after all this time on Switch, that Zelda is going to be the game I spent the most time with, and then Disney Dreamlight Valley is going to be the game I spent the second most time with.
uh,
Because I put like 200 and something hours into Breath of the Wild, but I
the
don't.
you speaking to the person who was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 only for the sandbox mode just to make roller coasters.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. November 12th, Deadpool and Wolverine on Disney Plus. Yes, great. Sorry, I just heard
Ah,
breaking. I said, okay, great.
but is that just only for Disney Plus? No physical yet? Dang, I
The
want
physical's
physical.
already out. It came out on the 22nd. The Steelbook, 4K.
When? They didn't. No one
On the
advertised it.
22nd. Yes, they did. I've been getting ads all over the place for it.
I haven't gotten nothing.
Well, you're just not looking in the right place.
Well,
They
dang
didn't
it.
make it for Nintendo consoles, so you're not seeing it.
No, I thought they were like even on Twitter and stuff. Sometimes they'd be
That's
like,
where I saw it first was Twitter.
I
Wario64
didn't,
tweeted it out too.
I didn't see anything.
There's two steelbooks. There's a Wolverine steelbook and a Deadpool steelbook, and they're both different, but they both come with the movie. I'm telling you, man, gotta catch up.
I need to
Uh,
order it then.
you sure do. Better hurry up. Better get it. Oh man. Anyways, Ed,
Yes.
I think it's time. I think it's time to get out of here. I mean, I could talk for another 2 hours, but um, work's gonna be super busy tomorrow. We started late, and I'm just terrible. So
Look, I got a 9-hour shift tomorrow. So I got register. I got our candy and cooler stuff. And whatever liquid didn't get done, I gotta do. On top of probably it's gonna be me and one other person tomorrow. So I'm gonna
yeah,
be a busy, busy boy. So it's gonna be a Domino's night tomorrow.
yeah. Well, uh, work took us out to lunch today, so that was nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we went to the Mexican restaurant, and I had a chicken quesadilla. I cheated a little bit today, Ed,
Ooh.
but that just means I have to be extra good the rest of the week.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Did you still got the the apple smoked chicken.
Yeah. Oh no, I ate the rest of it tonight for dinner.
Dang. Well, no, you did say it's for the next 3 days. So Sunday, Monday, today, Tuesday.
Yeah,
So
I was hoping it would last through Wednesday, but it did not.
it was just that good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, Ed, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and listening to this special edition episode of the Boss Rush podcast. Ed, thanks for hanging out with me for however long we just did this, for 10 years.
Thank you for inviting me. I truly enjoyed it.
You can also catch us both on Nintendo Power Block every Wednesday, Expansion Pass sometimes when we do it, which is the Patreon exclusive show, and a bunch of other things. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. What else? What else am I missing? Oh, subscribe on YouTube, leave us a 5-star rating, nice review, all that stuff. Thank everybody for watching and or listening, and until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.